Today I'm making gnocchi, specifically potato gnocchi. Now, with all the varieties of potatoes I have in front of me, which is the right one to use for this recipe? I would recommend russets. Why? Because a russet, when it's cooked, has a nice light, fluffy texture to it, and our goal here is to make light, fluffy potato dumplings, so these are perfect. A potato ricer is really an essential tool for this recipe. You really need to have one. But you can use it for other things, like it makes great, light, fluffy mashed potatoes. So off to the kitchen. Okay, the first step in this recipe is to cook the potatoes. We started these potatoes in cold water, covered about 2 inches with cold water. Instead of dropping them into hot boiling water, which would shock them more, we want to slowly and gently bring the potatoes to a simmer, not to a boil, so that the skins remain intact, and that what that does is really protects the flesh underneath from becoming waterlogged and falling apart. So that's going to cook for about an hour to an hour and 10 minutes until they're tender, and the way that you can tell is just to insert them with the tip of a little knife like this, and if it goes through easily and pulls out easily, then they're cooked. After that's done, we're going to remove the potatoes to a board and let them cool. That could take up to an hour or so to cool, just enough so that you can handle them comfortably and peel them. Now, I've already actually cooled another batch of potatoes that I made earlier, and I have most of them already riced in a bowl, but I just left one here to show you what I'm doing. So you can just start by peeling away the skins pretty easily, and as you see, they'll peel off without too much trouble. We're going to bring in the ricer to rice the potatoes. However, what I like to do is, just so that it's hard sometimes to get the bigger potatoes in there all at once. So add a half at a time right to my ricer, and this makes easy work of ricing the potatoes. And what the ricing does is it just creates these light lump-free, a little mash in there that just lightens up the texture of what you're cooking a lot. And just with your hand or with the edge of a paring knife, you can just scrape what's remaining on the outside. Now, to this mixture, I'm adding 1 whole egg and 1 egg yolk. The egg white just sort of lightens it up a little bit. The egg yolk gives it a little bit of richness. And about 2½ tablespoons of grated Parmigiano-Reggiano cheese. That just adds a little extra flavor to there. We have some whole nutmeg, and what I want to do is grate a little bit of nutmeg into there. Not a lot, about a 1/4 teaspoon or so. Okay. Then we're adding about a teaspoon or so of salt to that mixture, and about a 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper. All right, and then finally, what we're going to do is mix that in here just a little bit to incorporate the egg to begin with. Very gently. I like to use my hands because I get a better feel for the dough that way, and lightly incorporate it in there. Okay, gets messy at this point, but that's okay. This is a feel thing here. Now we've got 1 cup of white flour that goes in there. And at this point, what you're going to do is continue to just lightly and gently lift that and combine it until everything is well blended together, but not pressing down too hard, just incorporating everything in there. And then continue to do that until it moves to the side of the bowl and becomes a ball of dough. And you'll see that'll come together rather quickly. It's still going to be very wet, but you're going to be incorporating more flour into that before you knead it. All right, the next step is to knead the dough, but first I want to lightly dust my board with some flour, and also get some worked into your hands too, because when you touch it, you don't want it to stick to your hands. So let's transfer the dough to your board, and it's still going to be sticky here, don't forget. So it's okay though. So as you start kneading it, by gently pulling it forward and moving it back like this, give it a little 1/4 turn, and knead a little bit more, another 1/4 turn, and keep going. Gradually adding more flour to your hands as you go until it no longer is sticky. This will take you about 1 minute to 2 minutes. Okay, this feels just about at the right stage to me right now. And again, this is very much a feel thing, because if it's more humid on the day you're making these, you may need to incorporate a little bit more flour into your dough. So it's not a perfect exact science, but this feels great to me. So what I'm going to do is just roll this gently into a little bit more of a cylinder. There we go. And then I'm going to cut that cylinder into 6 pieces. And to do that, let's just use a pastry scraper. So let's see, we've got, cut it in half here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, let's move these back for now at least. What I like to do sometimes before I go on with this step is just to clean my surface a little bit. Just get rid of the gummy dough that's sitting on top of the board right there. Then give it another light flour like this so it's evenly coated. Take that piece of dough, put it cut side down if you want like this, very gently. And now with the palm of your hands, what I'm going to do is roll that into a log. If you need to add a little bit more flour, you can do that. And into a log that's about 3/4 of an inch in diameter. It could end up being about anywhere from, I don't know, 16 to 20, 22 inches long. Okay, this is about what I want right here. So I'm going to take the pastry cutter and cut these into pieces that are about 1 inch to 1.5 inches large. So just keep going all the way down. They shouldn't stick to the utensil at this point. Nope, we're good. So then we have these gnocchi. Now there's one step left in this recipe to do. This is the way my Nonna taught me how to do it. I just take my thumb or my index finger and just give it a little roll to create, I hope you can see that well, a little indentation in the dough. And what that serves to do really is just the sauce gets caught in there and it becomes more flavorful. And I'm just going to continue on with the rest of my dough balls right here until I'm all finished. Before we cook the gnocchi, let's heat the sauce up. So I have Italian classic seasoned tomato sauce in here. I'm going to add to that some basil that's been finely sliced, and then just stir that around in here. We're gently going to transfer the gnocchi into the boiling water, a few at a time, being really careful at this point, because you can get some splattering here going on. Now, I'm not cooking all my gnocchi at once. You can cook what you need for that night right away, and you can just freeze the rest of them once you form them into these little dumplings like this. All right, you can't see them now because they're still at the bottom, but it's not going to take very long, just a few minutes till they rise to the top, and that's when you'll know they're done. Okay, I see these all now rising to the top. What I'm going to do first before I remove them is to take a couple tablespoons of the boiling pasta water and add it to my sauce and just stir that in gently. A little bit of flour in there, a little bit of starch, helps the sauce cling better to the gnocchi. We're going to very gently remove the gnocchi right to the skillet where you have the sauce. And one final step to add a little bit more seasoning. Drizzle with a little bit, a couple maybe tablespoons of Italian Classics extra virgin olive oil. And then just drizzle this finely with some grated Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. Takes a little bit of work, but again, you can make them in big batches and freeze them. So once you've done it, now you can enjoy them.